Okay, so I want to talk to you about where do we get started with a new client? How do we start with someone that we don't know anything about? Um, you could always do an assessment, but let's say you can't do an assessment and you just want to design a program, ideally for someone that is just starting out, and their goals would be two popular goals: lose weight or to gain muscle mass. Where do we start? They may not have any weight training experience, or they may have tons of weight training experience. It doesn't really matter how we slice it. The goal is pretty much always the same. If they want to lose muscle mass, or sorry, if they want to gain muscle mass, then the more weight they can lift for the amount of reps that they choose, the faster that they'll grow. Okay? Same thing is true for fat loss. The more weight that they can lift for the reps that they are performing, the more work and power they will output, therefore the more energy they will expend, and the faster they will lose weight and transform their body. So it usually always comes down to increasing strength, and there's tests that you can do for that to see whether or not they need to gain strength or whether they don't. But most of the time you'll find with testing is that people need to improve their strength levels. So we'll say that strength is the first thing that we are going to program for these clients, because we don't really know anything about them. We know their long-term goals, but first we want to make sure they have a strong strength base. Second is we need to choose the exercises. And when we choose their exercises, there's three basic exercises or movements that we have to include in order to make sure people progress long term. The three basic exercises are a push, a pull, and a triple extension. Okay, so we're going to perform a push, pull, and a triple extension. Now obviously there's tons of derivatives and there's tons of variations that we can perform of these movements, but we're going to stick to the very, very basic because we want to get them started. We want to make it really easy for them to progress. So we have these three exercises, and me personally, I like to perform them in a circuit style. So you perform a push exercise, pull exercise, and then a triple extension exercise, and you repeat that. Now at the beginning, what you'll have is you don't have to perform a lot of sets. So they only need to perform 2 or 3 sets really to get started, because you don't know anything about them. You just want them to get started. So we'll say that we'll start with the basic 3 sets exercise, or 3 sets per exercise. So we do 3 sets. Now we need to choose the rep range. A lot of times people are choosing 12, 15, 20, 25 repetitions to get started, because they think that the lighter the weight they use, the more repetitions they have to perform. And a lot of times that would be true, but also we know that these people that are coming in that are fresh are usually weak. So we don't know anything about them. We know their goals. We know most of the time people are weak when they come in to see us. So the first thing that we want to do is increase their strength. In order to do so, we need to make sure that the time of the set is shorter. So I like to keep the time of the set to less than 30 seconds. So it's got to be under 30 seconds for them to gain strength. Okay, very important. Now, from there, how many repetitions am I going to perform in 30 seconds? Well, it's not going to be too many unless I do them really fast. Now keep in mind, again, these are beginners, so they're not going to be performing fast movements. We want to keep them slow, and also we know that if we perform slower movements, we can also lift a heavier load. So we're going to start them off at 3 sets of 8 reps. So 3 by 8. That's the first program. And you can do that program, say, 3 to 8 times. So they can go through that workout 3 to 8 times. For example, if it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they could do that for 3 weeks or 8 weeks, really. I like to change it up a little bit more, so I might have them do it 4 times. So they would complete that 4 times. Then we would move down, and we have to add a progression. So the progression is, we know we need to increase the load somehow. So we increase the load by decreasing the reps to 6 reps. And we're going to counter that with increasing the sets to 4. the more sets that we perform, the stronger that somebody can become. So not only are we dropping the reps so that they increase the load, but we're going to increase the sets so that they can get stronger as well. So we do that for 3 or 4 workouts, 3 or 4 weeks, and then we're going to bring it down to 5 by 5. So 5 sets of 5. Again, increasing the load, increasing the sets. And then you may want to finish with 6 by 4. That's how I would design a program for somebody that's coming in to see me that I don't know anything about, and doesn't matter about their goals, whether they want to lose weight, whether they want to get stronger, whether they want to gain muscle mass. I know the limiting factor for 99% of the people out there is going to be strength. So I'm going to increase their strength at the very beginning, and this would be a template that you can follow and you can use, and something that I have used in the past for people that I don't know anything about. And just to get them started, I would choose these 3 exercises and I'd have them perform them in a circuit style if possible. Sometimes you won't be able to do that because if they're an online client, they don't have access to certain areas of the gym. You could have them do straight sets and then go to the next exercise and do their straight sets and then to the next one. But this is a very simple progression to make sure they get used to using heavier loads. The one thing I will say is, just because you're using 8 reps doesn't mean you're going to use an 8 rep maximum. You may make them really sore if you use a maximum weight for 8 reps. So you may use a load that they perform for 12 repetitions and only perform 8 reps. And then when you go to the 6 reps, you may use a load that they can perform for 10 reps. And then when you go to 5, you may use the load that they could have done for 8 reps. So it's always a load that's lighter than what they could perform for this number of repetitions, but at the same time, it's heavier than what they're used to lifting. Okay, so that's a basic way to get any client started. 3 basic movements, the most basic that we can get, a basic progression of strength, and a basic progression in terms of time frame for the next 9 to say 12 weeks. Okay, I'm Jeremy Hudson. If you like this video, go ahead, like it, share it, comment below. I'd like to know what you think.